You know that feeling when you walk into a room right after two people have been arguing?
Oh, yeah. Where they aren't yelling anymore, but the air is just thick.
Right, exactly. You could cut the tension with a knife. And usually, we brush that off. We say, oh, the vibes in the room are bad.
Yeah, we treat it as psychology, right? Like a mood. Just
Yeah.
something abstract that will eventually, I don't know, dissipate if we open a window or just change the subject.
Right. But what if it wasn't just a mood? What if that heavy air you're walking into is like the actual fallout from a literal invisible battle,
Yeah.
a physical tug of war, where both people were desperately trying to drain the life force out of each other just to survive?
I mean, viewing it that way completely rewires how you observe every single human interaction.
It really does.
That awkward silence in the room suddenly operates a lot more like, well, the aftermath of a battlefield.
Yeah. So welcome to today's deep dive. If you are listening to this right now, you are someone who loves to look at the world through entirely new lenses. You're here for that aha moment.
Exactly.
Today, we are exploring a framework that takes literally everything in human existence. And I mean from the temper tantrums of a toddler to the honeymoon phase of a romance, all the way up to global geopolitics, and boils it down to one single relentless competition.
Right. A competition for energy.
Yeah. So where are we getting this from?
We are pulling this perspective from a philosophical text published back in 2006. It's an excerpt called The Triad of Life: Structure, Consciousness, and Energy. Specifically, we're looking at Article 9, which was written by an author named Tao Wan.
Okay, before we jump into the mechanics of this, a really
Yeah.
quick disclaimer for you. This text makes some massive sweeping claims.
Oh, definitely.
Yeah, claims about human psychology, society, and the fundamental nature of reality. And that includes some really rigid definitions of gender and human behavior.
Right, it's very specific.
So we are completely impartial here. We aren't endorsing these views. We aren't taking political sides or, offering psychological advice. Our mission today is just simply to step inside this very unique worldview.
Yeah, just to unpack the ideas presented by the author and see what the universe looks like from this specific perspective.
Exactly. And it is a perspective that requires you to temporarily suspend conventional assumptions, because the author does not start small.
No, not at all. The text literally begins with the blueprint of the entire universe.
Okay, let's unpack this. So the author states that the universe is essentially a giant energy mass, right?
Right.
And this mass is utilized by life, and the author spells life out in capital letters.
Capital L-I-F-E, yeah.
Within this vast universe, there are only three essential components: structure, consciousness, and energy. That is the triad.
And without all three of those components working in tandem, life simply does not exist.
Okay, so structure and energy are, I think, somewhat intuitive to grasp.
Sure. I mean, the structure is the physical vessel, right? Like the hardware.
Yeah.
And the energy is the fuel.
Right.
But consciousness is that crucial third leg of the stool. In this framework, consciousness acts as the software.
The software, okay.
Yeah, it's the directing force that literally tells the energy how to behave within the structure.
So if structure is a car and energy is the gasoline,
Then consciousness is the driver.
the driver. Got it. But the text gets incredibly specific about how energy and structure interact. Like energy out there on its own in the universe, it's described as unordered chaos.
Right. Unordered chaos. It has absolutely no power.
None.
None. Because unordered energy is raw and it's just scattering everywhere. The author argues that energy naturally seeks to adhere to structures.
Okay.
And the moment that raw energy attaches to a structure and is directed by consciousness, it transforms. The text calls it ordered holography.
Wait, ordered holography, like a sci-fi projection.
Yeah, exactly.
What does a hologram have to do with life or energy?
Well, think of a hologram in its most literal sense. It's a three-dimensional projection of information, right?
Right.
The text uses that term to describe how consciousness imposes a pattern onto raw energy. Once the energy centers a structure, it is projected into our physical reality as something organized.
Oh, I see. Yeah, it manifests actual tangible power in the real world.
That makes me think about sunlight in the vacuum of space. Out in the void, it's just scattering everywhere. It's unordered.
Yes, good example.
But the moment that sunlight hits a physical structure, say a magnifying glass or a solar panel, that structure organizes the chaotic energy.
Exactly.
It suddenly has a directed holographic purpose in reality. Like, it can start a fire. The structure gives the chaotic energy its power.
What's fascinating here is that the author uses a more grounded, biological example to illustrate this exact mechanism.
Okay, what is it?
Planting a seed.
A seed, right.
Yeah, the physical seed is the structure. Its inherent biological programming, the DNA, that is its consciousness.
Okay.
Once you plant it in the dirt, it naturally begins to absorb chaotic energy from its environment, the water, the sunlight, the soil nutrients.
Right, and it pulls it all in. Exactly. And that energy becomes ordered, allowing the structure to grow strong. Now, if that seed loses its ability to pull in energy, the structure collapses and the life perishes.
It's so stark. And the author takes that really simple botanical fact and scales it up to define the meaning of all existence.
Literally everything.
Yeah, the text explicitly states the process of life is essentially a competition for energy. It completely strips away the poetry of human existence.
Replaces it with pure cosmic economics.
Right, cosmic economics. If you acquire more energy, you thrive. If you acquire less, you become fragile.
And if you somehow figure out how to continuously obtain an unbroken flow of energy, you achieve eternal life.
Wow. Which frames a person's entire lifespan as basically rising and falling through what the author calls a great river of energy gain and loss.
Yeah, it's a constant ebb and flow.
So if life is simply a desperate acquisition game, we have to look at how we start playing it the second we are born.
Right, because we don't start out self-sufficient.
No. So the text analyzes the human family unit, but it does so through the concepts of yin and yang. So what does this all mean for families?
Well, the author divides all cosmic energy into these two categories. According to the text, yang energy is the force that forms matter, and it is inherently male.
Okay.
Yin energy is the force that forms the soul, and it is inherently female.
But wait, why does the author categorize them so rigidly? What is the text's reasoning for assigning matter to males and souls to females?
So the text relies on an ancient metaphysical paradigm. In that paradigm, yang represents the expansive external structural forces, while yin represents the internal nurturing conscious forces.
Okay, I follow.
So in this specific framework, a male structure is heavy on outward matter, but it lacks the internal soul-forming yin energy.
Right.
A female structure possesses the soul-forming yin, but lacks the external structural yang energy to anchor it.
Oh, wow. So because males possess yang, they lack yin. Females possess yin, so they lack yang. You are fundamentally incomplete out of the gate.
Yeah.
You are born with a deficit, and you're just constantly seeking the opposite energy to balance your own structure.
Yeah, and the text applies this inherent deficit directly to child psychology, specifically targeting Freud's Oedipus and Electra complexes.
Oh, that's interesting. Because conventionally, psychology views those as developmental phases,
Yeah.
right? Where a child feels an unconscious emotional attraction to the parent of the opposite sex.
Right, but the author throws out the psychological nuance completely.
Completely.
Yeah, they argue these complexes are literal, functional demands for fuel.
For fuel.
Yes, a baby isn't going through an emotional phase, it's a structure looking for a missing nutrient.
Oh my God.
So girls are drawn to their fathers to pull that missing yang energy into their structures. Boys are drawn to their mothers because they desperately need yin energy to complete their souls.
Wow.
The child is an incomplete structure, actively siphoning ordered energy from the parental structure.
That reframes a clingy toddler completely. Like they aren't just wanting a hug for comfort, they are physically docking at a charging station.
That is exactly how the text portrays it.
But parental energy is finite, right? Eventually, the child's structure grows too large to survive on mom and dad's energy alone.
Yeah, the well starts to run dry.
Which forces a massive shift in the dynamic as they hit the teenage years. Because we usually think of teenage rebellion as just, a search for identity.
Right, pushing boundaries, independence.
Yeah. But in this framework, rebellion serves a twofold mechanical purpose regarding energy. First, the teenager is putting up a shield to protect their own growing energy reserve from being depleted by the parents.
And second, the conflict itself is an extraction mechanism.
Wait, how does yelling about a curfew extract energy? What is the actual mechanism happening in the living room during a fight?
So think about it. When a teenager slams a door or picks a fight, they provoke a severe emotional reaction from the parent.
Right.
Emotion requires energy. When the parent gets angry, their energy scatters outward. Yeah. And the teenager structure is subconsciously designed to absorb that scattered, expelled energy. It is literally an energy heist disguised as angst.
A heist. So you aren't fighting over a messy room. You are provoking the parent to drop their energy so you can scoop it up.
Exactly.
But eventually, the child has to leave the house. The parental well runs totally dry,
Hmm.
and the adult structure needs a much bigger power source.
So they seek out the opposite sex.
Here's where it gets really interesting.
Yeah. The text asserts that the ultimate underlying purpose of marriage or taking lovers is entirely about energy acquisition.
To fill that initial yin or yang deficit.
Right, even if the individuals have absolutely no conscious awareness of it.
So we think we are looking for a soulmate, but we are actually out shopping for a battery.
Basically, yes. Though, to be fair, the text does describe the early stages of romance as quite beautiful.
Really?
Yeah. In the beginning, what we call mutual love is actually a state of abundance. Both people are freely releasing their energy to one another.
Ah. Both people are pouring energy out, and both are absorbing it simultaneously. It creates an illusion of infinity.
Exactly. That's the honeymoon phase where you just feel invincible.
Right. But because energy is finite within a closed system, that free-flowing exchange eventually dries up.
It has to. And the structures begin to consume what is available. The text argues this is the exact moment couples shift from releasing energy to deploying tactics of control.
So they try to dominate the other person, to force them to surrender their energy.
Yes.
You know, it makes me think of two people stranded in an airport with only one portable phone charger between them.
That's a great analogy.
Right. And both of their phones are at 1%. At first, they share it, plug one in for a minute, then the other. But panic sets in when the battery keeps dropping.
Yeah, somebody's going to panic.
Someone is going to start pulling that cord toward themselves. They will pick a fight or guilt trip the other person just to keep the charger plugged into their own device.
And the behaviors the author lists as control tactics mirror that desperation perfectly. Fights, throwing tantrums, ignoring each other, sulking, pretending to be ill. And the text even includes threats of death.
Threats of death.
Yeah. These are not emotional outbursts. They are deliberate strategies to force the other person to focus their consciousness and therefore their energy on you.
Wow. And the text even explains jealousy through this mechanical lens, right?
Yes, very explicitly.
When a partner tries to stop their spouse from talking to someone of the opposite sex, the author doesn't call it insecurity. They call it preventing energy leakage.
Right. Think about the mechanics of that leakage. If a husband talks to another woman, he's directing his consciousness toward her.
And because consciousness directs energy?
His energy is flowing toward a competing structure.
Wow.
The wife intervenes to plug the leak, basically ensuring her primary power source doesn't give its juice away.
The author notes that the more powerful a man's structure is, the more yin energy he must extract from a woman to sustain it. If one partner isn't supplying enough fuel, the structure starts seeking out extra lovers to make up the deficit. It is pure survival.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, the text groups almost every negative human trait into this exact same category of survival.
Like what?
Bad tempers, severe depression, a lack of confidence, harboring hatred, acting pretentious, or even being overly talkative?
Being talkative, really. Because if someone is constantly complaining, we usually think they just have a negative personality.
Right. But the text argues they are just running on empty. A person constantly complaining isn't actually looking for a solution to their problem.
No.
No, they are exhibiting a symptom of energy deficiency. They complain to draw your attention.
Oh, wow.
By getting you to focus on their problem, they siphon your energy into their empty tank.
They're essentially walking black holes, pulling in whatever light passes by.
Exactly.
If you were listening to this, you can probably think of an interaction this week where you walked away feeling physically exhausted by someone.
Oh, absolutely.
According to this text, that exhaustion isn't a metaphor. You literally transferred a portion of your life force to them.
Yeah. And we can observe this mechanism starting with the incomplete newborn, evolving into the rebellious teenager, and manifesting in the jealous spouse.
Right.
But the author scales this infection up to the ultimate level.
Okay, so if two empty people create a toxic, draining household, what happens when you combine millions of them?
You get society. The text claims that all human conflicts on a global scale stem from this exact same desperate struggle for energy.
So nations, ethnic groups, political parties, religions, organizations, they all function exactly like the squabbling spouses in the living room.
They strive to control others. If a nation successfully controls another nation, the energy of the conquered structure becomes the property of the controlling structure.
Right.
The author views this as the great tragedy of humanity.
Because the text argues that the universe is actually overflowing with energy. There's a feast sitting right in the next room, but humanity has hyper-focused on only two methods of acquisition.
plundering natural resources and trying to dominate each other.
Right. But the author's proposed solution to this global and personal tragedy is completely uncompromising.
It's extremely uncompromising.
For humans to coexist peacefully with nature and each other, we must entirely abandon our efforts to control one another.
The text uses the word disappear. Nations, religions, political parties, and organizations must dissolve.
Just disappear.
Yeah. And on the micro level, married couples must completely relinquish all domination and control over their partners. To achieve happiness, the mechanisms of control have to end.
But wait, if my entire existence from the moment I was born has been built on absorbing energy from my parents, my partner, and my society, I mean, what happens if I drop the rope?
Right.
If I stop trying to extract energy from the people around me, don't I just starve and wither away?
Well, this raises an important question, and the author anticipates that exact dilemma.
Okay.
You cannot simply stop acquiring energy. You have to change the source.
Ah.
The text provides a metaphysical alternative. Elevate your frequency of thought.
But what is the actual mechanism there? Like, how does elevating my frequency put gas in my tank if I'm no longer pulling it from my partner?
So the universe is an infinite mass of energy. The author argues that humanity has been using middlemen, other people, to get it.
Okay, that makes sense.
To bypass the middlemen, you have to align your consciousness with the frequency of the universe itself. The text offers specific actions to open this direct conduit.
What are they?
First, absolutely stop relying on others for energy. Second, recognize beauty. Third, possess selfless love. Finally, seek energy directly from what the text calls the greatest creator.
So when you look at a beautiful sunset and feel awe, or when you act with genuine selfless love, you aren't just having a nice emotional moment.
No, not at all.
According to this framework, you are tuning your consciousness to a higher frequency, which acts like a cosmic solar panel.
Exactly.
You begin directly absorbing the ordered holography of the universe instead of acting like a vampire feeding on your family.
And this introduces the ultimate paradox of the entire philosophy. To gain this infinite energy from the universe, you must learn to release your own energy.
Wow.
The author writes, only by releasing can you receive. The more you release, the more you gain.
It is the exact opposite of what the argumentative couple is doing with the phone charger.
Totally.
They are clenching their fists, trying to hoard every drop of battery life, and as a result, they are literally suffocating their structures.
Attempting to control others is self-destructive. It requires massive amounts of your own energy to constantly enforce that control.
Right.
By letting go, by releasing your energy selflessly, you stop spending your fuel on domination and you open your structure to the limitless flow of the universe.
Okay, to bring this all together for you, we've followed a framework that scales from the smallest seed to the largest empire. We looked at the triad of structure, consciousness, and energy.
Right.
We reframed the psychological milestones of childhood as a biological hunt to balance yin and yang. We unpacked the honeymoon phase, toxic arguments, and jealousy as subconscious attempts to plug energy leaks.
Yeah.
And we traced how millions of these infected interactions create warring nations.
And we also explored the author's radical solution. The only way to end human conflict and personal sorrow is to dissolve the structures of control, to stop fighting over finite scraps, and instead plug directly into the infinite power of the universe by releasing energy, recognizing beauty, and practicing selfless love.
It fundamentally alters how you view the motivations of everyone around you.
It really does. And I want to leave you with the final thought to mull over as you go about the rest of your day.
Yeah.
Think about the next time you find yourself getting dragged into a petty argument or feeling a sudden spike of jealousy or just dealing with a coworker who complains endlessly.
We all have one.
Right. If you view that moment not as a frustrating personality clash, but as a literal subconscious attempt by their structure to steal your energy, how might you choose to respond differently?
Wow.
What would actually happen to the dynamic in that room if you decided to deliberately release your energy in that moment instead of clenching your fists to capture theirs?
That is powerful. Next time you walk into a room and feel that heavy, thick tension we talked about at the start, you'll know exactly what kind of invisible battle was just fought.
Yeah.
And more importantly, you will know how to avoid getting pulled into the crossfire. Thank you so much for joining us on this deep dive. Keep questioning the structures around you. We'll see you next time.